Welcome to the Voices for Voices podcast, sponsored by Redwood Living. Thank you for joining us today. I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. You can learn more about Voices for Voices on our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and our website, voicesforvoices.org. Voices for Voices is a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization that survives solely on donations. So if you are able to, please consider heading over to voicesforvoices.org to help us continue our mission and the goal and dream to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. Or you can also send a donation to the mailing address of Voices for Voices at 2388 Beckett Circle, Stowe, Ohio, 44224. Are you looking for a volunteer opportunity? Great. Please reach out to us today via email at president@voicesforvoices.org. I founded Voices for Voices to provide a platform for folks to share their stories with others as we work to break the stigma around mental health, accessibility, and disabilities, helping get people the help they need while also helping them prepare or transition into the workforce with the Voices for Voices Career Center, where we connect talent with opportunity for both job seekers and employers from coast to coast and in every industry and job level. In today's episode, I'm going to reveal how gratitude has been a game changer and changed my life for the better. First and foremost, gratitude for me is looking outward instead of always looking inward at myself, of what I want to do, what I think's best, and looking at others and looking at what may be in their best interest that might not match up with what my interest is, or I may need to make a compromise. So I'm going to go through this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast and share with you a few of the people and organizations I am grateful for. And when I got started thinking about gratitude, my wife had purchased for me a gratitude journal. And what that is, there's many forms, but the one that she purchased for me is every day you put the day, the date in there, and then you write 3 things you're grateful for. And when I first got that gratitude journal, I thought, okay, this is a little bit corny. Do I really need to think about being grateful for things? And how am I going to think of 3 things every single day? And what happens if I miss a day? Well, if I miss a day, it's no big deal. Then I just wait for the next day to move on. But I can think internally during that time that I'm missing the physically writing what I'm grateful for. I can talk internally to myself of what I'm grateful for. And so some of the basic things that I know I've taken for granted are, 1, waking up in the morning, because every day there are some people who don't, that they pass away from the earthly life. So waking up in the morning is first and foremost, and then making it through the day, of being able to go through the day, no matter how difficult or how easy, how fun or not fun the day was, that I made it through. Again, there are people every day that aren't able to make it through for one way or another, one reason or another. And so that takes me down to really my core of again, just waking up in the morning, being grateful of waking up and making it through the day. So the answer early on, after I kind of chuckled and thought, okay, the gratitude journal, that's a little bit corny, it really then turned into, okay, this is helping me think about what I am truly grateful for in the individuals, the organizations, that I can really write down or, again, think of internally of, I'm grateful for waking up. I'm grateful that I traveled safely to and from the office. I am thankful for my family members traveling safely. I'm thankful for so I was recently on a trip to LA, and so I was thankful for the airplane being able to make it to Los Angeles. I was thankful for the mechanics that were working on the plane, that everything worked properly. Thankful for the pilots, the flight attendants. All those people and things had to happen for me to be able to walk onto that plane, take a seat, and sit back and relax for the next 4.5 hours. So that's really what this episode is about. So I'm going to rewind my life and give the gratitude and thankfulness that, frankly, I haven't done publicly, and that people and organizations, they deserve it. For me to even be here today, to be taping this podcast. So first and foremost, very, very thankful and gracious, and many gratitudes go to the Hudson Community Television station here. Without the station being here and how it has been developed and running today, I wouldn't have the opportunity, and Voices for Voices wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to come, live into your television, into your house every Wednesday at 4 p.m. So very thankful for them, and more specifically, Meg and Dan, who are the two individuals that I work with the most. They're awesome, and very thankful to have them here and to be able to work with as we share the stories and experiences and the hopes, again, to reach that 3 billion people helping in my lifetime and beyond. Next, I have to mention my wife, Charlene. So I have to say that I'm very thankful and gracious to have her in my life for many reasons, to allow me to be able to branch out with Voices for Voices and spend as much time as I do with the organization, of her understanding that my energy and thoughts and emotional side of working is really tied to Voices for Voices. And so whatever that looks like, so if that's the podcast episodes, if that's an event, if that's a blog, if that's another media appearance, if it's giving a check for an individual to purchase food, if they're in need, an individual who is entering mental health care, if we're able to financially support those individuals, all the way down to, again, just providing food and keeping the lights on in an individual's house. If we're able to do that, that's awesome. That's what we're here for. So without her, that I wouldn't be here and wouldn't be able to be doing this, and wouldn't have the organization and the community, not only here in Hudson and Northeast Ohio, support, but across the nation and the world. We've seen on previous episodes where we've been able to have guests from Australia, from the United Kingdom, from Florida. We're going to have more guests from all over the nation and the world. So that is what I find is helpful, that at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So to hear about somebody's story, whether they're here locally or if they're in a different country. There are things as human beings that we all go through, and so that's what I find is helpful, is being able to find some of the best guests for this podcast, for you, for the viewing, for the listening audience, for those reading the transcripts. That's one of our biggest goals. Very gracious and thankful for my daughter Rosemarie. She keeps me, she keeps my wife on our toes. She's 4 years old, and she's just amazing to be around, to see her grow, to be able to spend time with her, teach her some of the better ways to go about things. She's 4 years old, so it's obviously little things to teach her, but just being there and spending time with her, that really taps into my heart and my emotional side of myself and my body. So very, very gracious since she was born. I really can't think of really life at this point where I am now with her not in my wife and I's life. My parents, so you saw in one of the earlier episodes where I was lucky to be able to bring both my parents, Pat and Helen Hayes, to tape an episode and to bring them with me on this journey and to let them be in front of the camera for some time. And that was big for me, and very happy and glad I was able to do that, and to be able to talk about dreaming of at an earlier age of being taught that you're allowed to dream and you're allowed to go after those dreams, and being able to let my parents talk through that, as well as all the earlier times of my life, the ups and downs that I've had. Many of them were in their household, going through rough times of taking too many cold and cough pills and having my stomach pumped, and going through having a DUI, of going through just some of those very, very low points in life, and to still have them as my parents, to have them by my side, is very very awesome to have, especially with how COVID has come and is proceeding, that they're able to still be alive and be able to do the things that they love to do, spend time with their children, myself and my sister Heather, as well as my wife and my daughter Rosemarie, and my nephews that I'll get to in a second. So my sister Heather, she has been one of my biggest supporters through the ups and the downs, and she's a big reason why I'm also able to have Voices for Voices tape our podcast here at the Hudson Community Television Station, with her and my brother-in-law Brian, and my nephews Hayden and Tyler being residents here in Hudson. They believe in me with the Voices for Voices organization, and they're sponsoring us to be able to do this. So my sister has been supportive at the lowest points that I've been at, as well as some of the higher points, and I'm very grateful to have her in my life at this point. Being 41 years old and seeing so many relationships with past friends and just things going on in the world, to have my parents and my sister close and near and dear to me, I'm very grateful for. Grateful for my brother-in-law Brian. The trip that we were able to take as a Voices for Voices organization to Warsaw, Poland, to ship some humanitarian aid for some of the Ukrainian refugees that we were able to do last June. My brother-in-law works for a shipping company, and so he was able to navigate getting the supplies from here in Hudson Stowe area to Warsaw, Poland, to the Sheridan Warsaw where I was staying, so that I could be able to distribute those supplies, as well as have the opportunity to take mothers with small children, one of the mothers grocery shopping, and to fill a couple carts full of groceries for 30 to 40 moms and then their small children from Ukraine that a private resident had sponsored. So very, very thankful for my brother-in-law. And my nephews, Hayden and Tyler, they, prior to getting married and having my daughter Rosemary, they were and still are huge in my life. Being around them really, I think, gave me started to transition me over from to be more of a loving person and more of an accepting person. Seeing them born and as they were growing up and being able to hold them and spend time with them. Very grateful for that. Now that they're growing and so much, they're into sports, and so being able to take a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon and to go watch one of their sporting events is just fun to see them grow and to see the love that's there not only with us but also with my daughter Rosemary and Hayden and Tyler. Now stepping back many years ago when I was in a position where I was driving late at night and I veered off the road and ran into a center median and totaled my car. So I'm thankful for, number one, being alive, getting through that experience. At that point, I wasn't under any substances or any alcohol at that time. But thankful for the police to just help me through that situation, getting my car, even though it was totaled, to get that towed. And so again, this is somebody that I didn't know before that early morning hours that happened. So grateful that they were able to help me. When I did take too many over-the-counter pills and ended up in the hospital, I'm thankful for all the doctors and nurses at Mercy Hospital in Canton that took care of me, that really, brought me to the point to be able to bring me kind of back to life, of taking kind of the toxic substances out of my stomach and helping me on that road to recovery. So I've never had a chance to, I guess I've just never publicly thanked them, and I don't know their names specifically, but that staff that evening was one of the scariest evenings of my life, and so to have people whose profession it is to deal with people such as myself at that time, just very, very thankful for that. So that hospital staff, as well as 5 years ago, going on 6, when I had a 5-day inpatient stay in the psych ward at Akron General Hospital. So the staff there, so all the nurses, all the techs that did testing of the blood, and all the psych staff that gave me the opportunity to start on the road to recovery, as well as when I did accept that, the staff that watched over me. I mean, I was on suicide watch because somebody going through what I was going through, they wanted to obviously make sure that I was safe, as well as the other patients on that wing. So everybody from the individuals and security that during that time, to the nurses, the psychiatrists, the counselors, the art therapists, security, keeping us safe, being able to get the medication that was prescribed, just to have the medication be available. So coming from the pharmaceutical company, in that whole supply chain. So all those individuals are I'm very, very thankful that they were there at that time, and to bring me the opportunity to be here 5+ years later, in helping others, spending my time and energy helping others, versus just being self-centered. Which if you talk to anybody who knew me, it's like 15 years ago, they probably wouldn't want anything to do with me. They wouldn't want to talk to me. They wouldn't want to see what I'm up to and my organization, Voices for Voices, is doing, no matter how well we're doing, and the support and the help that we're able to offer. Those individuals, I don't hold anything against them. I had it many times, but as speaking with the guests that you've seen in previous episodes, as well as going through personal healing of just accepting that, that wasn't me. That was me at that time. That wasn't Justin Allen Hayes, the individual. It was me at that period of time, but it wasn't overall all me. And then once I was released from the hospital 5+ years ago, I continued on with therapy, and one of the individuals, her name's Heidi LaRue. She's on our board of directors. She's our clinical board of director, and she was my art therapist during one of my group therapies that I went through. And so we reconnected through LinkedIn, and she's been a supporter before Voices for Voices became an organization, when we were just having the once a year, a brand new day event. So thankful to her, and thankful to my now psychiatrist of going on 6 years, Dr. Mansour, my first counselor, Alan Kurzweil. He has since retired, but he was instrumental and game-changing for just being there and allowing me to vent and just talk about what's happened in my life the last 2 weeks, and being able to, so every 2 weeks is when I would have a visit with him, and then that turned into every month as things started to get better and I started to improve. So without him, really, once I was released from the hospital, within a week, I think I was seeing him. So he saw me at my absolute lowest, and was able to see some of the growth. So very thankful to Alan, to Dr. Mansour, who to this day is my psychiatrist, and now he's also my clinical therapist that I see. Very, very thankful for just having them in my life, on my team, and being able to call them part of my team, where I am not just going through life on my own. I'm going through life with them. I'm going through life with my wife. I'm going through life with my daughter, my sister, my parents, my nephews. And I'm really grateful to, again, be able to take kind of that negativity and maybe that hate or that non-loving personality that I had, and turn that into a more loving and more supportive, that not blowing off family events, or not finding time to talk with people like my students that may have questions not just about class, but being a college student is not always the easiest. Being away from home, going through relationship changes, having classes with exams and presentations really close together, learning to manage the time. I'm grateful to be in an opportunity to be able to help anyone, but in those instances, help the students to be able to navigate through maybe some challenges that they're working for. And I'm very grateful, because of being an instructor, I've been able to even think about wanting to write the House of You Prescription for Living book about my mental health journey, because I want to bring more into the classroom than just the course content. I want to bring the real world experience, but then also the real world human experience, the things that we've go through as human beings. And I have received some of the most positive feedback from as high up as a president of the university, down to students, former students, and that really has just helped confirm and validate that what I'm doing is on the right track. It's on the right page. That the days that are tough, where I'm not feeling the best, or I might be a little bit in that depressive state of wanting to just sleep and not get out of bed or not do too much, to know that I'm here, and there's reasons I've made it through an overdose. I made it through a DUI, and many times driving while intoxicated, through relationships that have been my fault and not my fault. Just being, put myself and others in dangerous situations, and so to be here today, I'm just very grateful. Going back to the first part of this podcast, where I talked about just being grateful for waking up and being alive today. If I wasn't alive, I wouldn't be able to help people, and I wouldn't be able to hopefully be an inspiration that you can get through things. There is help out there wherever you're at in the process. Do things at your time when you're ready. It took me 35, 36 years to be ready, of going through all the ups and downs, and just being at that point to accept that I didn't have all the answers, that I couldn't answer the questions, I couldn't make everything right. I couldn't make everything better by myself. That I needed help. And so coming to that point, I found that once I needed help, and I still need help, because recovery, when you're talking about inside the body with the brain, it's an ongoing process. So I am on a positive trajectory and am getting better, but there are still days where I regress a little bit. But on average, I'm doing very well, and it's because of a lot of the people that I mentioned in this episode, to be gracious and have the gratitude towards them, because again, without their intervention at certain times, whether that was a listening ear, whether that was a medical procedure, whatever that was, that has and was something that got me through life at that point, to be here at 41 years old and to be doing what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I love Voices for Voices, being able to help and get in front and bring guests, to have them share their stories, because we all have a voice, whether we can speak, whether we do art, whether we play music, whether we do sign language interpretation. We all have a voice. A voice is different to each individual. I'm lucky to be able to have a voice, to be able to communicate in that manner. I understand some aren't able to, but I'm gracious that I have that voice to be able to share. So thank you for joining us for this episode. And I just wanted to ask if you or anyone shop on Amazon.com. If you do, or if you know somebody, please consider choosing Voices for Voices as your 501c3 nonprofit charity of choice through the Amazon Smile program. And we have the easy to follow instructions at voicesforvoices.org/Amazon-smile. Best thing is there's 0 fees, and it's 100% free to do. Thank you for joining us and joining me in this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast. Until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. Until next time, we hope that you have a great day, and please be a voice for yourself or somebody in need.